Hey guys, welcome back to Tech 215. I'm your host Nick, and I'm so excited because today is the premiere video for my brand new build series, Ultra Budget Builds. And how it's going to work is, as soon as this video is done and we're finished showcasing this month's PC, it's going up for sale on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and whatever I get for it, that will then become next month's budget for our next build. And I'm so pumped because a friend of mine gave me this super old gaming PC. This thing was on life support and we rescued it from the depths of hell. We gave it some cool case modifications, we painted it, we even created a custom GPU backplate, and I think you guys are going to really be shocked at the CPU and the GPU we chose. They're both great for 1080p gaming, and I'm so psyched to show you this month's ultra budget build. So stick around and see the transformation that is Tech 215. Let's get into it. So here's the stock configuration for this build. My friend Janae gave me this PC. Janae, thank you so much. You are the best. But it's an old HEX case from way back in 2005. It came with the old removable front panels and even came with this old MSI DVD and CDR burner. No one uses CDs or DVDs for that matter anyway. So moving on, when I got this thing, it was just an absolute jumble sandwich. It had some good components from a while ago, but I only kept the case and a 500 watt power supply. But let's introduce the components individually now. So it came with the Pentium E5200, which is a dual core, dual threaded chip, decent budget CPU from way back in 2006. It came with an Asus P5Q motherboard, socket 775, but that socket is pretty much dead and you can't really play modern games with it anymore. It also came with an NVIDIA GTX 550 Ti, which again back in the day was a really good budget card. I'm going to keep that for an emulation build down the road. It also came with 8 GB of DDR2, a 2x4 kit. Now I'm going to keep the blue G-Skill heatsinks and mod them out. So what I did was I packaged the Asus motherboard, the heatsink, the CPU, and 4 gigs of the RAM, and I sold it on eBay, and we ended up getting 26 bucks and almost $20 for shipping. So I netted $40 off that and threw it back into the build. Now let's take a look at the hardware upgrades that I put into today's ultra budget build. So how fitting is it that we went with the Pentium G4620, which is a 7th gen Intel chip, KB Lake. It's 2 cores and 4 threads and has a base clock speed of 3.7, great for 1080p gaming. For the motherboard, I found this awesome deal. I got an MSI Z170A PC Mate for 30 bucks, and I know I'm putting a lock chip in an unlocked motherboard, but honestly, when you're paying this price, it doesn't matter, and it leaves you room to upgrade to an unlocked chip down the road. For the graphics card, we went with the Radeon RX 570 4GB for 75 bucks shipped to my door. This, in my opinion, is the best sub $100 used GPU on the market, and there's tons of them out there on eBay. We went with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 2666 MHz for 40 bucks off Craigslist. I picked up a brand new Kingston A400 240 gigabyte SSD for 30 bucks off Newegg, my favorite site in the entire world. And then for the cooler, we went with the Cooler Master i71C for 18 bucks, got great RGB. This is honestly the heatsink that Intel should be shipping out with all locked chips. And to cool the case, we went with a 3-pack of Corsair AF120s for $35, brand new from Micro Center. So here's today's hardware recap. Roll that build montage. Okay, so now let's see what this thing can do and run some benchmarks. And first up is everybody's favorite Cinebench R15. And what we ended up getting with this in OpenGL was 96 frames per second, which is pretty decent, and a Cinebench score of 344. But that's not where this CPU is really going to shine because of the 2 cores and 4 threads. Next up is Unigine Heaven, and with Unigine Heaven we got a FPS score of 98 and a score of 2479. This is a pretty easy benchmark to run, and it allows you to see what your CPU and GPU are able to do. And I think for this system, it's actually not bad, but if you notice the minimum FPS, because of the dual-core 4-threaded CPU, the frames are all over the place, and you're going to see that continued in all these games. Battlefield 5 is up next, and it got an average frame rate of 68 FPS with a minimum of 23. The max was 130 and the 1% lows were 20. Again, because of the 2 cores and 4 threads, it's not optimal for this game, but it does run smooth. And it's on the Frostbite engine developed by DICE. This is a fantastic game. It's really eye candy, and I just absolutely have a blast playing it. So next up is Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order on the Unreal Engine. This is one of my favorite games to play from 2019. Absolute blast, and it really carries that Star Wars tradition. Got an average FPS of 68, minimum of 22, and max at 90 to 1% lows are 16. And that, again, is just a testament to having 2 cores and 4 threads. Really, these games play well, but they are going to bounce all over the place. And that, by far, is going to be the biggest symptom of having 2 cores and 4 threads for playing AAA games in 2020. Next up, we got an amazing first-person shooter from EA, Apex Legends. We got an average FPS of 58, which is great because it's hovering around that 60 FPS mark. A minimal of 15 and a max of 78 with the 1% lows at 16. It utilizes the Source engine, and another really interesting fact is the minimal recommended settings for this game is an i3-6300 and an FX 4350. The i3-6300 is pretty much the same exact thing as the Pentium G4620. So we got really good frame rates out of this game, and it was relatively smooth, but again, you are going to get micro stutters with a 2-core 4-threaded chip. And finally, everybody's favorite game, one of the most popular games in the world right now, Fortnite. On Epic settings, we got an average of 74 FPS with a minimal of 13 and a max of 92 with the 1% lows at 12. I suck at this game, guys, so sorry for the really crappy footage. You're going to get really good gameplay out of this one. And the overwhelming theme of this chip is it performs really good, but you are going to get the occasional micro stutter, glitch, and frame drop. Okay guys, so that about wraps it up, but I have a couple quick things I want to say before we officially end this video. First, the Pentium G4620. It's a great dual-core 4-threaded chip. It's equivalent to an i3-6300. They're pretty much the same exact thing, and I think it's really good for 1080p gaming. But again, you are going to notice a lot of micro glitches and stutters when you play AAA games, like we displayed today in the video. The RX 570, if you guys are looking for an ultra budget graphics card and you're on a super tight budget, go on eBay and try to find one of these cards because there's tons of them out there. Most of them are mining cards, but the thing is, miners generally keep their equipment in great shape, and they often undervolt the cards and keep an eye on having clean thermal paste. They often go for between 50 and 75 bucks, and they're just tremendous at playing 1080p games, as we showcased in today's video. But that about wraps it up for me, guys. Thank you so much for watching this far. Give it a like, share it on social media. You guys can follow me on Instagram at tech_215_. I'm on there all the time posting really cool stuff, and I hope you guys follow me on there as well. But I should be back in about a week with more tech content. Thanks for watching.